Hello, this is Raina, and today is going to be take 2 of episode 1 of Raina's Rambles. It's just going to be chill. It's just going to be me hanging out, chit-chatting with you, and doing something. So today's project is I'm working on money pouches. They're leather money pouches, and I'm working on these top little stitches right here because it's going to be like the two pieces together. Those top stitches are going to be on the top. So yeah, nonetheless, that's what I'm working on right now. These are things that I plan to sell in the future. I'm just working on trying to get it all down, but I'm really excited with how things are looking so far. So yay, joy. I already started one because this is take 2, and I totally messed up. But I guess I'm talking slightly hippy-hoppy happy, and the topic for today's video isn't particularly a joyous thing. But it's something that I think is really important and a thing to sometimes think about and consider, the reasons, the whys, the whatevers about this type of topic, about self-harm, scars, covering up scars, the triggers of it within tattooing, being in or out of the industry. There's just a lot of different things there that I feel like are interesting to touch on that I don't know, I don't see that many people talking about, really, I guess. So with that said, I wanted to chit-chat a little bit about this. This is, of course, as you'd probably expect, unscripted and just kind of me talking about it. And for me, that's the type of stuff I value sometimes, is just people kind of talking like people. I just like talking and trying to express myself and try to start discussions, and I'm just very, very into discussions. So nonetheless, that's what I wanted to talk about. So kind of for starters, I guess my history with self-harm. That has been a struggle for me for a very long time, and I haven't done it for a good long while now, but it has still been a struggle for me. And if you have gone through it before, you would probably know that it's something that kind of sticks with you, and those temptations happen a lot. Less so the more that you heal, of course, but even if you haven't for a while, sometimes you can get those types of urges and things can still be rough. It's, in a lot of ways, I can think of it very similarly to addiction, just with how much it kind of sticks with you, and sometimes those feelings or what you gain from it sometimes become addictive in nature, I think, to a lot of people. There's a lot of different reasons, but nonetheless, yeah, I've had a history of it, and because that history, that's most certainly shaped the way that I tattoo and how I go about both scar cover-ups, how I talk to people, and what things I'm willing to put up with and not put up with. And this is very particular on why I mention that, and I'll explain that story very shortly. But yeah, nonetheless, I've had a history of that. My first tattoo was actually a little dagger on my thigh, and the reason for that was to never have another blade beyond my skin. And that was kind of a symbol for me to try to not. So, there you go. You're learning so much about me. This is getting so depth-filled. But nonetheless, yeah, my first tattoo was surrounding kind of that whole thing. It's like, it's definitely done a lot to me and has shaped who I am. So nonetheless, I have that tattoo. And I also see the tattoos on myself as a way to kind of push myself away from doing it again. And also to cover my skin with nice things that I wouldn't want to mess up, you know? And that's been a very helpful thing for me. So a good majority of mine are covered up at this point. Not all of them. I need to at some point, but, you know, I need to slow down a little bit. So nonetheless, yeah, I've had a history of it. I have covered them up on myself. There was a lot of people in my past that was very unsure about me becoming a tattooer / even getting tattoos because of this struggle in my past, which, I mean, makes sense when you look at what that is and then look at what tattooing is. Okay, yeah, I mean, you're choosing to commit a harm against yourself. There's totally some similarities, 100%, and there's also a lot of things that are incredibly different about that. I've had people in my life say that I must enjoy hurting people because of my job being to hurt people. That is an opinion I don't agree with. I have had people say that it's just my new form of self-harming. A lot of people were worried about that for a really long time with me. But for me, what I always say, and this is strictly my experience, and what I went through and how I was self-harm is something for me that kind of happens quickly, that I don't really take a whole lot of time planning. It's something that I need to get out very quickly. Tattooing is not that, especially earlier when I was a tattooer and really trying to figure things out. I was a little bit slower. So, nonetheless, okay, self-harm, you're gonna go find something to hurt yourself and then be done. There you go. For tattoos, well, then I need to figure out what I'm gonna put there, what placement I'm gonna do, how it's gonna fit in with other things, considering having it there forever, having to get the supplies for it, having to have some place for it. Like, when I was an apprentice, sure, okay, I had a place and the supplies, but I had to make sure I purchased these supplies and had them. There's so much more prep time. You have to get the design ready, get it stenciled, sit and wait for the stencil to dry, you know, like there's so many little barriers in the way there where it's different for me. It's easier to not decide to self-harm if things are hard to get, you know? It's kind of that idea, I guess, for me, and that's why I always felt frustrated when people are like, oh, it's just your new form of self-harm. It's like, no, it isn't, though. It's so different than that, and it's so much better than that. Tattooing is something so special, and sure, it's still marking your body, but there's so much more put into it. I don't know. But, with that said, I think that anyone could use tattooing in a very negative way, and use it to truly self-harm. 100%, you absolutely can. And that's something that I will talk about more in a little bit, because that's a whole thing. But, yeah, nonetheless, we're going to take a pause here, because I need some water after this one stitch, at least. We're getting pretty far. It's pretty chill. But yeah, look at how pretty it is. So nice. So, let's talk about some of my notable experiences in the past as a tattooer to some extent and surrounding self-harm. So, since I have been pretty good for a while, I've been pretty chill. I haven't had that many issues, but earlier on, especially within my apprenticeship, I was struggling a lot with seeing scars, seeing fresh wounds on people. I had a really, really hard time with that. It was totally a struggle. And I realized that, oh, I need to figure this out because I'm not going to be able to do my job if I can't do this. And now it's really interesting thinking about that because I'm at a point where overall, almost all the time, I'm not particularly triggered by it. But I absolutely love doing scar cover-ups because it's something meaningful for me, and I love to be able to do that for people because it helped me. I know it helps other people, and I want to do more things that help people, you know? So it's interesting now being at a place where that's okay and favorable for me rather than being afraid of it. So yeah, nonetheless, I had a hard time with people and seeing them, and it's my job. I have to get used to it, you know? To some extent, you gotta figure it out, and I'm glad I did. But again, on hard days, it's not always easy, and that's just how it goes, I guess. The better it gets over time, you know? But I had an experience when I was an apprentice that I think is really notable. And that experience was this person I kind of knew. They were messaging me one morning, very, very much wanting to get a tattoo. And they sent me photos of a body part, not a sketchy one. I'm just trying to be really vague. a body part with cuts. A bunch. Just a bunch of pictures of them, and said like, oh, I'm gonna keep doing more. If I don't get a tattoo, I need a tattoo to make myself feel better. Look, I need help. I need you to give me this tattoo with these photos. It was the wildest thing. It was, again, during my apprenticeship, so I was in that phase where I was having a hard time with it. And then to get that was absolutely brutal. That was not very fun. And I did not tattoo this person. I was not trying to, because I don't want to be someone's blade. And I've never wanted to. I don't want to be a helper in someone else's self-punishment. I just want to help people, and that's not going to be in any way beneficial. So I didn't tattoo that person, and now I think about that all the time. And I am in a place where I would be very satisfied not particularly doing walk-ins in the future, because I cut down the risk of that type of thing, or having to, I don't know, risk the idea of possibly hurting someone or making them think of a tattoo in a really sad way because they remembered where they got it when they were in a really bad time, you know? I just don't want to do that, and it's nice to have things planned because you can kind of get away from that a little bit more. So I don't know. I just feel like it's a really weird thing, and that was a weird experience, and it really shaped me to just want to be as far away from that type of thing as possible, and not in a way of like, I don't want to be around people that are struggling mentally. It's like, we all are. That's not the issue. It's just I don't want to hurt people more than they're already hurting. That just sucks. So it's an interesting thing, and it's interesting trying to wonder how one can find out. It's like, ooh, this is a decision someone's making not particularly in the right headspace, you know? It's like, I can't do all that. I'm tattooing adults, you know, I can only tattoo adults for the most part, so, you know, it's like everyone makes their choices and does their thing. It's just I wanna make sure I'm not hurting people extra. That'd be lame. That'd be lame and sad. But yeah. I'm just about to finish this stitch here. Sometimes they're hard to get out, like, of the holes, but that's a good thing. That means that they are taut, I guess, could be the word for that. And in there, and then you just cut them, and then I got a lighter. That's how you have to finish them. And then you're done. How exciting. So I realized that I had these things on until like a second ago, but oh well, it'll be fine. We're gonna do another one, at least start another one, depending on kind of when I want to end when I want to end this. But I really enjoyed doing scar cover-ups. They're definitely a little scarier. You have to be careful. You have to wait a good while and have everything heal properly. Usually for me, I go off the basis of at least 2 years, and the scars have to be, if they're more severe, to the point of becoming fully white rather than being like purpley colors, if they're kind of that deep. So it kind of depends, but nonetheless, I like to wait a good while. But I really enjoyed doing them, and they're definitely a little scarier. You know, I go a little slower. I'm definitely a little bit more careful in specific spots, just like I am on any type of scar tissue. Same thing with tattoo scars or stretch marks, that type of thing. You gotta be a little extra careful, but nonetheless, I really do enjoy it. I think it's just extra special for people, and that's so fun. And for me, and kind of what I love about tattooing and the symbolism behind it, and if you've been here before, I talk a lot about, as if I don't have like 2 videos, but if you've been around me, you know that I'm all about one taking their body back. And that's what I think tattooing is. And I think self-harm is kind of like a prison over you and your brain, and getting out of that is like taking yourself back, being more of yourself without something trying to torture you, you know? And being able to succeed that, and how fantastical that is. Sorry, I speak in a lot of weird words, and this is a serious topic. I just want to talk about it like a person, and not super worrying about exactly how I'm saying things, or we're saying things, you know? So I just want to have a person-to-person discussion and be honest and straightforward, legit with y'all, you know? But yeah, there's a lot of reasons why people get them covered up in the first place. I mean, for me, it was a helpful deterrent, as well as the symbolism. And some people just want to cover it up just so they don't see them, which, I mean, is fair. Same with me. Technically, because you are breaking down the skin by tattooing it, there is a chance that those scars will perhaps heal a little bit better in the future. So there's always that possibility of them kind of getting hidden underneath everything too. So sometimes people like to do that. That has been something I have also realized with myself, is seeing them and feeling them is more triggering than other things to me. And because of that, I would like to conceal it. And even if, say, the tattoo itself scars a little bit, that's not as offensive to me, because then it's just a different scar, and that's not a sad negative scar so much. So even the risk of getting a little scarred from a tattoo was like, oh, well, I guess that's kind of better. So, I don't know. That is a reason for me as well. But I also, that was my hand. I also recognize that I have tattooed a number of people that don't purposefully want to fully cover them, but have them be a part of a thing, in the symbolism of also being able to appreciate that they're there and not really hide it, which I think is completely fair too. And really, with that, it's just up to what you prefer, you know, to you. But yeah, it's cool. It makes me happy. I think it's a good thing. And I like making art, especially out of canvases that are just so much more unique. There's not any cooler canvas you could have than a body. It's the coolest one you could get, the most fancy and expensive one you could get. You could get all the gambling oils for that canvas. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm eepy and exhausted and on lots of medications. Medications that I was prescribed, but nonetheless a little scary. But yeah, I don't know, this is just an interesting topic, and it's something that I've thought about a lot and considered a lot, because it's surrounded my life for the last decade. But I don't know, I think it's something that other people probably might think of too. I don't know, it feels like so still now a thing I guess people do, but just probably in a different way. I don't know, maybe it is all the same. Maybe we've done the exact same types of things to ourselves for who knows how long. Or maybe it has evolved slowly over time. I'm not totally sure, because I'm not really there anymore, and I'm not like a teenager right in the middle of that type of thing, you know? I just feel like there was a time where it was known in a different way than it is now. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm just saying silly stuff. I am. I'm just saying silly stuff. But I don't know. It's a rough one. So I guess I just also feel kind of awkward because I'm scared to talk about this topic. Because it's a brutal one, and it's one that people have a lot of opinions about, and it can go wrong really quickly. So I don't really know. I just know it's a little spooky, and I also think that it's important. So I feel like I want to start a discussion about this type of thing. So please, tell me things. Tell me opinions if you may. If you hold them, give it to me. I'm joking. You can keep your opinions. I'll keep mine. I don't need to. I will hear yours, though. And you will hear mine. You can't take it. I mean, I guess you can. I don't know. It's not the way that the world works. They're not pieces of paper. They are in our noggins. Anyways, that's really like all the kind of main things that come to my head, my noggin, my brain about this type of topic, unless other people, I guess, mention thought-provoking things about it. But yeah, I don't know. It's just a hard one, and everyone deals with it so differently. And every type of self-harm is different, and in reality, we're talking about a very specific type. But nonetheless, it is a type. So, and that's one I can talk about because, you know, I see it, I deal with it. I don't particularly deal with other forms of it at this point, so I'm not one to have much in particular to say. Aside from it to do with tattooing, because it always comes back to that for me. It's always sticking its way into something, but it must be important enough to do so. I'm exhausted, but I gotta finish this letter. I don't even know if you guys can hear me that well because of the camera being where it is and me not having my little microphone because my phone is charging and I need it to charge, but this is the best chance I have to film. So hopefully it's not the worst thing ever. And upstairs neighbors have been like incredibly chill, so that's awesome. Love to hear it. Love to not hear it because I don't hear them. Hell yeah. But yeah, so I feel like that's kind of all that I can say on this right now. We can talk more. I'll probably make these longer and longer as we go. I'm not totally sure. I just know it'll be some amount of time. And we're gonna figure it out. It also depends what people even like to begin with. If you hate this, then I will stop doing it. If enough people, if one person does, maybe I'll keep going. We'll see. But nonetheless, I don't really know what else to talk about. But let me know how you feel about this video and about this topic, and tell me anything you feel like down below. Most things are on the table. So, nonetheless, I hope that you have a good day. I appreciate you listening to this video, or watching it, or whichever. I will see y'all around. I really do appreciate it. Any support is really, really cool. So, thanks. Thanks for making my dreams come true. All of the time. I already have my dream job. Pretty sick. Anyways, I'll see you around. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.